Talk Heathen!
Hello, Cincinnati, and mostly people that are here because they don't believe in God. What's up? An empty sky.
We're
How
live
are
and
you?
we're so excited to be able to join you for our second year at the American Atheist Convention. Thank you all so much for coming.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah,
before we get into it, I mean, it's been a hell of a year.
Oh my God. Yeah.
How have you been?
Okay, so I'm now president of the ACA, which I love, but yeah, all right, woo, yeah. But that's a lot of work. You know, I've changed jobs 3 times, kind of, depending on if you count the first time I switched to Lyft. I've moved again immediately before the convention. I need to sign leases, particularly if they're for 12 months at a different time, so they don't come up like Easter weekend. You know, I now have plans every Easter weekend, which is fantastic. Hopefully we'll be invited back next year. I've moved, I've switched roommates. I'm now single again, kind of. Well, yes. Became single, became not single, became single again, became mingling. Oh my God, everything. I got new stuff for my cats. My cats are still amazing if you follow me on Instagram. Just basically everything has changed. It's changed for the better and I love it.
Jamie, is hashtag grind on Jamie still a thing?
Well, it's
Hashtag
gonna be
grind on
now.
Jamie. Let's bring that shit back. Yeah.
Oh my God, so many things this year. How about you?
Meh. No, dude, it has been an amazing year. So I am now the Director of Communications for the Atheist Community of Austin.
Woo! He has me as a boss. He deserves a larger round of applause than that. Oh, come on, you're up here. You're having a good time.
Yeah, I am. Honestly, this has been the best year of my life. I've gotten to meet so many amazing people. A lot of the people in this audience I've gotten to meet, and if I haven't gotten to meet you yet, stop us after the show. This has been amazing. I don't even know where to begin, dude.
That's bad.
So we did International Atheist Day.
Woo! How did I not mention that? Yeah,
right?
March 23rd every year.
We did a concert with Shelley Siegel.
Yes, we did.
We've brought in some incredible guests, including Aaron Ra.
Yeah. Who's here again today? Yeah.
No Illusions.
Yes.
Who else have we had, Jamie?
I was going to say, do you have a complete list? Because you're about to make some of our friends slightly less friends if you forget.
No pressure.
We've got
no pressure.
Anthony Magnavosco. We've got some guy named Matt Dillahunty. He's just hanging around the library all the time.
You know what? Their show's promising, and we'll see how it goes.
I think they've got some real strengths.
Yeah,
I'd
subscribe
like to
to
see
the Atheist Experience. It's
as
fantastic.
well. Like and subscribe. They need your support.
Right
So,
after the show.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. Talk Heathen.
Okay.
We can
So
catch them.
it's not on camera, but Matt's giving us the "I'm gonna murder you in your sleep" look.
Yeah. It's a.
Oh no.
Get it.
Oh, what
get
the
outta
hell
here.
is this?
Get out of here.
Are we?
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Oh, okay. I saw Cash. I was just gonna start taking clothes off.
I was going to say, actually, isn't that your job at the end of the show? That
Right?
you start doing it. No, not on the stage. All right. No.
I'm fine. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
So,
you are fine, and those are very fine clothes that you should continue to wear.
Let's see. What else has happened this year? Moved into Austin. Started getting really involved with collaborating with other YouTubers. Opening up and trying to build community has been incredible,
Yes.
and we're so freaking excited. It's unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Yes. You guys coming here
Yeah.
and seeing this makes the shit that we do in the hours we work.
So
That's the payment. So thank you. Yeah.
So
That and
here's what we're gonna do.
well, so real quick,
What's
like I skipped the first thing.
He's doing the
There was
Jamie
like
thing,
the
right?
first switch that was made after the election, which is that if you were to visit Austin, atheist Mecca, and make your pilgrimage to the Free Thought Library at 1507 West Koenig Lane, it's now open every day of the week from 11 a.m.
7 days a week?
to 9 p.m. Yes, 7 days a week. Visit Eric. He's lonely and he's there all the time. Opening it in the morning, yeah. There's always
so
people
lonely.
there. Come by.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic community. Community
right.
is at the center of our name, and it's at the center of what we do.
Cheers.
Yes.
All right, now let's actually start shit. Before we move into our guests, it is going to be a non-standard episode of Talk Heathen, largely because we can't take calls. So you get to be our callers. We're going to be taking audience questions. If you have not written down a question, take it to the back. You will hand it to one of our call screeners who will go through them. And if we take your question, we're going to be giving you free merch. So do that.
And you get to read it. So
yeah, absolutely. We're going to have you up. It's going to be great.
Well. Yeah.
So while people do that.
Yeah. Well, while people do that, I will say, be prepared. I think we're going to get fewer hardcore creationist callers this episode. I don't think anyone's going to say that we're, a danger to the youth, which we've heard, or that we're going to hell, or that the Garden of Eden
or that we're self-abusers.
Yeah, or that we're self-abusers.
Right. Any self-abusers in the house?
All right. And now everyone else, all the liars in the house. Woo! No.
I'm among my people. I love it.
I can't let the Garden of Eden is the pyramids go ever.
No.
Because that was amazing. So
you need to watch that episode. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Talk Heathen. Watch it, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to call you out. You're great.
So we are really, really proud to be able to do this. And I guess, Jamie, since you're shilling, I might as well hop on the shill bandwagon really quickly.
I'm driving.
We're here because we're supported by our patrons. It's because of all of you. And really, we don't have major donors. It's $1 and $2 donations that keep us going. It allows us not only to keep the lights on, but send us here. It allows us to team up with organizations like Foundation Beyond Belief. We gave them how much?
We sponsored the Beyond Belief Network.
For $25,000?
I love the fact that we fundraised and supported that, which is a program that they have that helps support local atheist groups go out into their communities and do community service. It helps them, it gives them a tool,
Also, it's enabled us to use the platform that we have to affect as much good as humanly possible. We started Secular Sexuality in collaboration with Daryl Ray in Recovering from Religion.
Yes.
Right?
I don't know if he's in the house, but thank you anyway.
We started Parenting Beyond Belief with Dale McGowan.
Yeah.
Oh!
Because apparently sometimes people try and convert other people's children without talking to their parents first.
Right, we started Truth Wanted with Objectively Dan.
Yeah, because some serious street epistemology is needed everywhere, and we might as well let people call in. Come on, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, if you think we're patient, Objectively Dan is freaking amazing.
He and I are currently having a who can be more patient competition. The results may take a while. And then most recently, the show that started is Atheist Vanguard, which is has a groundbreaking for the ACA because it's recorded, at least in part, outside the studio. So it's people on the street representing secular values and positive atheist culture and just having conversations with people on the street, getting to know what they think, and then bringing that conversation back into the studio. It
is the most ambitious project we've ever done.
Yes.
And I think the producer is in the audience. Ben, where are you?
Woo! We called him out while he's running around and doing things to help our show exist.
Yeah, he's helping getting all the questions. Ben, we appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh.
Thank you, sir.
This just
Holy
in.
shit.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you.
Sorry?
What?
Yeah, we got a lot of callers in the queue.
Yes, there it is. We have more than 6 lines today, so.
But first, the point that we're getting to is there's a moral, ethical responsibility to use the platform when you have it to affect as much change as possible. And it is because of your support that we've been able to do that. And we're going to continue to do that. We have amazing plans, and we've got a lot more work to do. So if you like what we do, if you support what we do, you can donate to the Atheist Community of Austin. You can become a patron to Talk Heathen at patreon.com/talkheathen to me. And it is that support. It's the $1 and $2 donations that keep us going. But I'd also love to beat the hell out of the atheist experience.
In terms of fundraising,
was there a fundraising thing that happened lately?
There was a fundraising thing that happened lately. So who saw last week's show? Woo! All right, cool. Yeah, the people in the front row that got here early. You guys are the best. No. Everyone is great. Like and subscribe. If you guys remember, Eric and I ran down the street and bought champagne out of our own pockets to share with the, very friendly people that we thought were going to lose the competition. The hosts of the Atheist Experience in terms of fundraising so that we could get here. And in the last 5 minutes of their show, it was pointed out that they were something like $50, $40 behind. Matt threw $40 on the table.
Out of his own wallet, yeah.
So there may not have been formal rules, but you decide whether that's cheating.
But we were watching in the live chat when he said $40, there were a couple people who jumped in, 50, 40, 50.
Yeah.
And we were like, holy shit, they're stomping the hell out of us.
We came this close, right? It was 15
then,
minutes left, and they were 500 behind.
Yeah.
And so I literally brushed my shoulders off. We went and we got champagne. We
I
started
may or
to
may
pour
not
it.
have been making faces at them.
Yes. Yeah. You
yeah.
didn't moon them, which has happened before, but
Come to the ACA. You're gonna see some shit.
It's a wild time.
But what happened?
However,
we're
since
burying
then,
the lead as we are wont to
burying
do.
the lead. So since then, a very dedicated fan at final numbers are in. Whatever. So they had pulled ahead of us at the last minute, and there was this one large donation that came in 1 minute before the Atheist Experience ended. And I was like, wow, that was great. Because apparently Kathy Leto wanted to make sure, because she, I think, called the building, messaged each of us and the page, the Facebook page, sent an email, and then made sure that this document marked confidential facts made it to my hotel room the other day.
Yep.
So we've heard you. You're a dedicated fan. You're the best.
What did she do? What happened?
So your donation means that Talk Heathen won.
Well, let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Thank you.
A $400 donation came at the last minute.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
And we were told very clearly, make sure everybody knows it's for Talk Heathen.
Yeah, it's...
what are the final numbers?
So the final numbers after this are, what is it? 1,940
for the
Atheist Experience, and 1,980 for Talk Heathen. Which is a lot of money, and our tech crew is very happy that they have the equipment that they needed, but all right, okay.
Oh, no. Okay. So let's move on to the next segment.
All right. I'm the president, I have an obligation. Give me the money. I'm unbuttoning my jacket, put it on the table.
We do want to share the stage with some of our friends.
Yes.
And I got really, really nervous when you reached out to this person.
Our friends and colleagues, who we're going to call colleagues, so that we can, our peers,
yeah, I like
whom
it.
we are definitely equal to
I'm
in
not
stature
totally
and
full of
influence, and maybe looks, I don't know. Did you want to say that
Yeah,
Eli
I do.
Bosnick was going to
Eli
join us?
Bosnick is going to be joining us on the stage. And I got really fucking nervous because Jamie's like, I am going to talk to him, and you're not going to talk to him. And we're going to plan it, but you don't need to know. And so I stole Jamie's hat.
Yeah, you
as
did.
a bit of insurance against it. But now I'm on a moral high road to you. Hey Ben, could you reach underneath that table and grab Jamie's hat? Jamie, I love you, and as a show of good faith for what's about to happen. Oh my!
I was going to say, I don't know how far I'm going to have to chase
Take it
him.
out on Matt. I'm sorry. For those people who are watching online, Matt took Jamie's hat and just ran. All right, so Jamie?
Is there like a ceremony that...
No, just put the fucking thing on. I hate it.
I know you do, and you have won our little back and forth banter. You like to say that we're a married couple, but I don't see a ring. You've won our back and forth banter by communicating well, like Dr. Brenner said. Sorry.
Don't bring it back.
Never mind, nothing.
No,
ensuring that my feelings were appreciated.
Well, you're using I statements, which is nice.
Yes,
all right, let's
thank
move
you.
on.
But now I can't do a dig like,
Jesus
nice
fucking
hair.
Christ, let's get on with it.
Yeah, Eli.
Eli, come on up.
Quick, before we talk too much.
Seriously.
There he is. Woo! Oh,
get him in the
Eric
middle.
would like you to buffer.
Yeah, no.
here.
We're gonna get you right here.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, no. All right.
I'd like to just do a disclaimer.
gentlemen.
Any jokes made by our guest or positions held do not necessarily represent the official position of the Atheist Community of Austin.
Yeah, it's been a good run. This is Eric's last episode.
Who here saw the live show last night? Yeah, there it is. Yes.
Who didn't see the live show last night? Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Sorry, I gotta do it.
And now you have an
good,
idea of what.
On
did a little-
behalf of the Atheist Community of Austin, fuck you. Let's advocate for some violence. Throw acid at people who didn't come to the show last night.
Nope.
Do it.
Yeah, this is going great, Jamie.
That's the official position
This is great.
of Atheists of Austin.
Okay, now I see what you mean, Eric. It's fine.
Right? No. You brought this on yourself. Tell me more. What else should we do to people, Eli?
Blow up their car if they don't come to your weird library that you sit in all alone. That's open 7 days a week now. Because you had people being like, excuse me, I showed up on a Sunday.
Well, that's the day that most people show up because those are the live shows. So you can see Talk Heathen live there every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central, or the second other show.
Support us on Patreon or we'll circumcise your son.
I'm so happy right now. This is good. This is good. Hold on.
Nope. Yeah. Okay. All right. There it is. All right. Some good came from this. No. Yeah.
All right. El Jefe.
Patreon.com/talkheathen to me.
All right.
Like
So
and
Eli,
subscribe.
dude. You know what? It's great to have you on the stage. I know we've only gotten the chance to meet a few times, but I'm a huge fan of what you do. So for people who don't know what you do, let's plug your shows first.
I am on The Scathing Atheist, God Awful Movies, Citation Needed, and The Skeptocrat.
Check them out. And you have a blog?
It's apparent that I have a blog. I haven't found it for a while, but it's out there.
I know.
It's out there.
I'm trying.
Eric,
bro.
I didn't tell you this. I was talking with him to arrange like the logistics, and I asked him, "Oh yeah, and is your blog still a thing?" And he said yes. And then I felt really shitty because I was like, "Oh yeah, that blog thing that you do and care about, and that highlights the issues that you care about, is that still a thing?" I didn't even bother to Google it before talking to you on the phone.
Read my blog or I'll light you on fire.
Not the official position of the ACA, but yes, I will
Official
definitely read your
Which
book.
is the official position of the Atheist Community of Austin.
I will light
You're
you
an
on
employee.
fire.
This
You-
hat
I
is
can-
itchy. Why? Okay,
I
anyway.
think it's your hair. It's fine.
So,
I'm fine.
you all came up with the plan. What the fuck's going on?
What? What do you mean?
What?
We're talking to Eli now.
I'm real scared. All right.
Behind the scenes a little bit, Eli has literally said, "You know what I love about you guys? You're always very well prepared."
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
All right.
Sorry, Kevin.
Dude.
Well,
Let's actually just jump into it.
Yeah.
We wanted to ask you a little bit about yourself because you kind of just appeared out of nowhere. I was listening to Scathing when you showed up. How did you even get involved in the movement, man?
So I worked in the same building as Noah and Heath. And then they went off and started this crazy podcast thing, which I was a huge fan of at first. And then, it's one of those things where when you work in an environment, you find the other atheist across the crowded lunchroom. She gets it, right? Where you're just like, there you are. You get me. So they were my atheists. And they were like, hey, why don't you come on the show? We're doing this little bit. This is when they were going to elect the new pope. They were like, you should come on and run for pope. So I came on and ran for pope on a platform of pedophilia. And it turns out the real pope beat me to that. So stole my thing. If anyone sees Francis, please tell him he owes me some money. But that was the first experience we had. And then whenever anyone would leave their company, they would do a roast.
Okay.
And if you're not familiar with what a roast is, I don't know, looking around the room, some of you were bullied in high school. You imagine if you did that on purpose with a microphone, that's what a roast is.
Yeah.
So they used to do this for their people when they left the company, and I went up and did it, and they liked what I did, and we started doing more and more appearances, and I already loved terrible movies, and that turned into god-awful movies, and now The Scathing Atheist and the rest of our shows.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Well, so the question I always like to ask, I'm not sure whether I got to ask them last year or not, but I want to hear that was weird thing for me to bring up. What's your sort of deconversion story, or did you ever actually believe that God
So
existed?
I was a very religious Jew, and my father was a Maimonic scholar, which means like he's like pre-William Lane Craig, when all the apologetics were like, stop it, you're upsetting your mother. So my father was a Maimonic scholar, and so I grew up in a pretty religious Jewish household, and then, like I think a lot of us, I moved away and I was like, wait a second, right? So in college, I sort of moved further and further away from religion, but I still considered myself Jewish, sort of culturally and ethnically, and sort of like kept the wooey beliefs of Judaism. And funnily enough, I was about a freshman or a sophomore in college, and I saw an animated version of Pale Blue Dot by Dan Meth. This is one of the very first like viral videos of my college times, was this animated version of Pale Blue Dot. And I was watching it like 4 a.m, and the line "thousands of confident religions" just struck me in the head like a thrown brick. And I sort of went like, they all think they're right. And either one of them's right or none of them are. And I think it's the second one. And from there, I sort of moved in. And, this was sort of the post-2001 new atheism boom. So I had a lot of YouTube, a lot of Intelligence Squared debates, which I think is a lot of us sort of easing ourselves in, those sort of midnight YouTube sessions where you're Googling like Christian destroyed by search. All right, I don't know who that guy is, but I'll watch it. And so that was sort of my gradual start of the movement. And then as I met Noah and Heath, I got introduced to the real movement, which is stuff like AACon and FFRF, and the amazing work being done by our fellow podcasters and advocates, and have sort of fallen deeper and deeper in love with it since then.
That's awesome, dude.
Awesome.
I'm really glad you made it.
That's it. That's an answer so good I can't think of a follow-up. So you searched Christian destroyed and debate and stuff. So are you telling me that you found Matt Dillahunty and then that helped? Or?
Matt was so I have told this story before at a live show that we did. So Matt was actually one of my first exposures to sort of YouTube, and I was a regular listener to Atheist Experience, and sort of like always envisioned the calls in my head. I don't know if any of you are like ex-religious people. Some of you are, I'm sure. But like, you never got the courage to call Atheist Experience because you were afraid, but you had arguments with Matt Dillahunty in your head. You were like, and then I'm going to be like, but God loves me. And Matt's going to be like, what? This kid is my best friend and I'm Jewish now. And so, like, it's one of those things where it's not hero worship, but it's definitely part of someone who helped you get out of faith. And then the very first time I ever saw or met Matt, I was dressed as Daisy Duke. And if you needed to sum up my career, that would be just meeting your heroes dressed as Daisy Duke.
I mean, he had full ass hanging out. I was there. I was there. It was burned into my retina.
Nobody drops it like it's hot like me.
I mean,
yes. I don't know if that needs a testimonial, but yes.
Thank you.
We'll do this later.
Check out my Yelp reviews.
I'm gonna outdo you. We'll do this later.
I will have a twerking contest with you right now. They do this on Atheist Experience all the time. Don't be weird.
Very well respected show.
All right. Are you ready?
All right.
I'm trapped now.
Here's my
There's
drop
no
it like
escape.
it's hot.
All right, what do you got? What do you got?
Points for sass.
Okay, yeah. I'll work on it.
We switched seats. We did it.
Okay.
We should.
It's my prize.
What if it's the
The
guest
hat gets around.
It's the guest hat.
I heard that it traveled from head to head last night while I was elsewhere, and
it's
you
off
had
again.
stolen it.
Sorry, I've seen you all.
You were part of it. All right.
Bathing is part of the institution. All right, buddy.
I like that Heath is laughing in the audience because there's stories they've shared about that.
But Eli, getting to kind of a serious thing, I know that you wanted to talk about a couple things while we're up here when we're talking about using this platform. Yeah. What did you want to talk about?
So I have two controversial statements I want to make to lose.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eli Bosnick.
That's
Let's
right,
hear
the
it
whole
for us.
room.
Yeah!
When did you limit it to 2? And please tell me you didn't get the most controversial ones, because I have no idea
No,
what
listen to my statements or I'll kill your dad. If they start, I'll just jock jams if it goes badly. Nice.
Okay.
No, you're good.
So I have two controversial statements that we can talk about while we're here, and we've got a Q&A where you can be mad about both of them. The first one I think is going to be pretty easy for this room, which is if you are an atheist, you are a social justice advocate. I've got some bad news for you. If you are an atheist because you have gotten one philosophical pop quiz correct, which is how many gods there are, your atheism is useless. Your atheism needs to be about fighting theocracy and advocating against theocracy. And I think that's a pretty easy statement to make in this room, all right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna lose all of you. Are you ready? If you're a social justice advocate, you're an atheist advocate, which means that woke Christian you know in your life, you need to start talking to them about the fact that they're supporting an international rape cabal. All right? Pete Buttigieg believes in a talking ghost. Yes!
That's fair. Dude, yes, absolutely.
I didn't think those would go over well. I was really hoping one person would be like, don't tell me what to do! Get side-tackled by Mayor Pete.
Well, the interesting thing is, we talk about how great things have been this last year. It's not great for everybody. There are some people who I really wish could be in front of the camera more often, who could be behind in front of the microphone more often, but because of who they are, I have seen avalanches of hate. I've seen huge campaigns of people because they really, really just want to write in and weigh in on their humanity. And that's not something Jamie and I have had to deal with. And so I absolutely agree. I think that's an incredibly important thing to bring up.
It's also not something we put up with at the ACA. Just in case you were wondering about whether you should show up and harass people, the answer is no.
Jamie will boot your ass.
Yeah.
He's really good at it.
Or whether you're going to do that systematically in the YouTube comments, you're gone.
But
backstory.
I absolutely agree. We do have a lot of work to do, and it's something that we can say up here on the stage, but if you think just the three of us can affect the change that we need, you're out of your mind.
Yes. Thank you.
We have to work together on it. And start. It's easy. See something, say something. Right? If somebody's out there and they think that, I've got this really funny kind of off-color joke, I'm going to say it anyway. It's not funny. Fucking keep it to yourself. Go away. We need to build a better movement, and we're not going to sit and wait for someone else to be courageous enough to stand up and say, no, that's not okay. And so by moving forward, that's how we're going to do it. Eli, I really appreciate you bringing that up, man.
Yeah, thanks.
And just to piggyback off that, I had a great conversation literally right before this show with Jason. One of the things that you can do is be an advocate for people who don't feel like they have a way into the movement, right? You're walking around a con with 800 people minimum. And I see people sitting in the corners. And if you've been sitting in a corner, at some point I have descended on you, like the social vulture that I am, and been like, hi, where are you from? Welcome, I love you. And that can be part of it, right? Not all of us are social advocates. Not all of us are able to turn up the volume on persecuted voices or quieter voices. But just making someone who doesn't feel welcome in this room or any room that you're in feel welcome, feel like they're part of the movement, ask them what they can contribute, that can change someone's life. The example I always give of this is, how many of you know about Michael Marshall over at QED and Merseyside Skeptics over in Manchester, England? So Michael Marshall saw an episode of Bullshit and changed his life. He saw an episode of a television show that, look, we all like bullshit, right? But that was a funny show which I enjoyed, right? I was just like, ha! Homeopathy, got him, boom, high five myself. But Marsh saw that show and has since gone on to do truly, incredible work in England. And it was because someone reached out the hand when he asked and said, what can you contribute? And it's turned into more and more and more. And I think when we see advocates like the gentleman that I'm sharing the stage with, and pretty much anyone in our community, it's because someone was the first person that reached out that hand and said, what can you contribute? And the answer was something incredible. So don't be afraid to be the person who reaches out that hand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay. You beat me to the punch because I was going to say, that's what happened to me. I'm really lucky I was born and raised and was still living in Austin. Otherwise, I don't know what I would be doing. I just know that, 5 years ago, if you'd asked, I would have told you that a God existed. And 4 years ago, I wasn't involved or a member of any atheist organization. And 3 years ago, I didn't have a position in any atheist organization or a show. But I showed up and I did everything I could. And even before Eric had an official position, everyone informally called him the ACA's greeter on Sundays because he talked to everyone. And that, I think, has helped contribute the growth of our community. And you can do that as well, right? Everyone knows that, sure, there's panels, there's speakers, etc. But one of the best things about the con that isn't listed on the agenda is the fact that there's one bar that's walking distance from everyone's room, and it's full of atheists every night. And that is what builds community. The number of times that I'm preaching and we should be asking you, but right now I'm on a
soapbox and it's important.
I'm on a soapbox, I'm sitting in the middle, so therefore I'm important. All right, so the number of times I've been told or answered things on our Reddit or on r/atheism of like, well, no, people that don't believe, that doesn't build community. That's not what people have built community around. So one, community is human. I don't give a shit whether it's Comic-Con or AA-Con or Shoe-Con or whatever. It's people getting together and speaking, and they have a icebreaker, which is shoes or whatever. And two, people believing in fucking ghosts and that their imaginary friend can grant their wishes builds communities and has built them for hundreds of years. And those communities are toxic, fundamentally at the core. So the fact that we don't have that toxicity is more than enough for us to gather around and be humans together, which is what community is.
All right.
So the takeaway here is you gotta have friends.
Nope, not doing
Oh,
it.
if a band had started, that would have been so good.
Right? Nope.
There's a song called You've Gotta Have Friends, just for
All right, but we do have...
read music.
And Aaron
Eli?
keeps track of time.
I appreciate you coming up, man. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for Eli Bosniak. Thank you, brother. All right.
And he'll be back.
We have time that we got to catch up on.
And he'll be back for questions, so if you've got questions and comments, write them down, Ben somewhere, but let's catch up on time.
Yes. The person that I reached out to that I would love to bring up is Mr. Aaron Ra. Yeah. Aaron, where are you at, buddy? Way in the back.
I'm not sure if you've heard of him and remembered his words, but you've definitely seen him and remembered his face and outfits and hair.
You know, when I first saw him, I thought he looked like the Undertaker. You know. And then I met him. He was more of a Viking, teddy bear Viking, which is fine. But I think my favorite description of Aaron Ra is when we had him on Talk Heathen, and somebody said that he looks like a cross between Ozzy Osbourne and the bad guy from Flash Gordon. I thought it was great.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm rather stoked. I just got notified that the fundraiser I was working on has just achieved its goal.
Really?
Now, let me tell you what this fundraiser was. The Evolutionary Studies Institute at the University of the Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, South Africa, asked me to fund a paleontological expedition into the Karoo. And they said if the funds are successful, they'll take me with them.
Oh!
Yes!
Rock on!
I'm used to not knowing what the words you say mean because they're about science as opposed to a language I don't speak.
The
Aaron, that's
Karoo is a
amazing.
wilderness area that actually has lions and rhinos and stuff like that. And I'm going to be camping in a pup tent
Wow, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
while digging for therapsids.
So I know you just came up and just joined
That's what
us
I don't
kind of
know.
like, do, I'm Aaron Ra. Does anybody not know who Aaron Ra is?
Oh.
For
Hi,
you,
I'm
sir.
Aaron Ra.
Aaron is an amazing science communicator. He is a experienced debater, author, amazingly kind human being. Aaron has gone out of his way to further science education and to help really kind of disseminate that information while still being absolutely unapologetic when it comes to standing up and telling people, no, you're fucking wrong. And Aaron, you were an absolute hero when I met you. I fangirled that day until I lost my voice.
Quit blowing smoke up my ass.
But I'm absolutely thrilled to have you up on the stage.
Yeah.
So, like, can we get a proper applause for Aaron Ra?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
I never thought that I would be on a stage and hear someone shame the audience into enthusiasm, but you guys are great. Literally the best audience I've ever seen.
All right.
So, you've been in the movement for like 20 some odd years, and I don't know that I've ever actually heard the story of your deconversion.
Oh, my deconversion.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, I kind of went a weird way. I was baptized Mormon when I was 8, but I never identified as Mormon because I didn't know that I believed everything that was required for a Mormon to believe. How would I know? How would I know that some other religion that I didn't know anything about might better align with me? So I never identified as Mormon. I don't understand why everybody else doesn't think that. But in Texas, people think they're born Republican. And that they owe the party their allegiance because of that birthright somehow. That wasn't the way I thought. And when we lived in a Mormon-dominant area where the Mormons own and control everything, there were places in the Four Corners area of this country where if you're not Mormon, you're not employed. So when we moved to California, to Los Angeles, which is where I got my accent the first time, I noticed the interdenominational bigotry of the Baptists versus the Mormons and so forth. And I got to see how the Christians treated each other, because Mormons identify as Christian. Mormons think they're Christian. Other Christians don't, but then other Christians don't think that Catholics are Christian either. So there's very little credence in that. So I was told that God was a conclusively proven scientific fact. And then I learned what all of that meant, and that no, it isn't. Yeah, but the pinnacle for me was I thought that I had all kinds of scientific evidence for why I believed what I believed. I didn't believe on faith. I believed because everybody knew that there was all this historic evidence. There's all these there's all these studies of showing telekinesis, and there's demonstrations of telepathy. But there was so much pseudoscience woo on television in the guise of documentaries in the 1970s that I'm a 12-year-old kid, right? I bought it. It's true. It's on TV, right? So eventually I started one by one whittling things down and realizing this isn't true, this isn't true, this isn't true, whatever. Eventually, though, I was reborn in Christ.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, for about 2 hours.
Aaron Ra, everyone.
And so I asked a friend of mine, because I did the ceremony, and then as you do, you psych yourself into these sort of things. I'm stumbling about in this euphoric daze and all like that, dizzy feeling and everything. And I mentioned to a friend of mine, I said, how do I know that this is really the power of Jesus and that I'm not just psyching myself up to think this? And he grabbed me by both shoulders and said, just keep telling yourself it's Jesus until you believe it. And that was my last instant as a Christian.
Holy crap.
But
All
that
right.
was so dishonest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Now, it took me a while to get to atheism, though.
Yeah.
Because although I discarded the Christian God, I wasn't sure if there was a God. I didn't really embrace the God thing at all. I'd already read The Science of Self-Realization by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
That's another one I don't know.
And I got into some of the transcendental meditation and that sort of thing, and I'm still thinking that there's some substance between the powers of the mind, psionics and all of that. I think that there's something there.
Oh my gosh, I want to see Wu, R, and Ra. That is amazing, like with some crystals and shit, like jade.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. I was such a fucking hippie.
You know what? I can
I
see it a little
slept under
bit.
a pyramid.
What?
Wait.
No. Let it be. Let it be.
All right.
Just bask in it. Okay.
I wore the double tourmaline quartz crystal Odin's hammerhead. I did that.
Why?
Because I
Because
couldn't
he-
figure out what kind of a neo-pagan I was going to be. So I don't. So
And
No.
now he's R and Ra.
I need to know more about this.
So I didn't.
Hold on.
It's not like I really
So you wore a
embraced.
crystal hammerhead around your.
It's not like I embraced Asatru or anything, but I actually thought that there was power in crystals. I dated all these beautiful hippies.
Yeah.
You know, that all wore the crystals. They were all in. I was in crystal shops shopping with these ladies all the time.
Yeah.
It's just everybody in my world seems to believe this kind of horse shit, right? And I think there's scientific data to back it up because everybody has personal testimonies for
Sure.
it. Right? And sometimes the pagans get better testimonies than the Christians. I know a guy who lives not 2 miles from my house. I've known him for 20, 30 years, who is a disciple of Bast, the Egyptian cat-headed goddess. Why? Because she personally invited him to become her disciple by appearing physically manifest, speaking audibly, and giving him a hug.
All right.
So,
So hold on, because this is actually something really important that I've been wanting to work out with you and talk to you about because I think you'd be a good person to ask. But I've got a debate coming up, and so people say, "Oh, well, this is a fact," or "Here is evidence." Arn, what is a fact?
A fact is a point of objectively verifiable data.
Okay, what is evidence?
That would be the objectively verifiable data that is positively indicative of or exclusively concordant with one position over any other.
Okay, a little louder and into the mic.
Evidence is a body of objectively verifiable facts which are positively indicative of or exclusively concordant with one available position over any other, so that the same fact does not become evidence of two different mutually exclusive conclusions. It can't be. The definition that you find in the dictionary is the fact that indicates, which is much simpler. So I had an argument with this girl at the rally out there. I don't know if anybody saw that, where she's working for Answers in Genesis, and she tells me that her evidence is that she has a conscience. And I have a conscience, and the conscience came from God. And I say, well, actually, you have a conscience because we are evolved as a social species. So if we both have a different explanation, yours and the right one, for what the conscience is, then the conscience is just a fact with two explanations. It is not evidence of both because that's logically impossible.
So how do you determine what evidence is? Walk me through this.
I had the same problem with her.
Let's do this.
he's playing
Okay.
angel's advocate right
All
now.
right,
That's fine.
let me give you an example. So she's going to claim the same fact as evidence of both of our positions. Okay, let me give you an example of evidence being indicative of only one position and not the other.
Okay.
The fact that we are classified taxonomically as apes. That is a fact we can verify that is, of course it aligns with evolution. It does not align with creationism. The fact that evolution happens, that new species are, that we have this biodiversity through these, the rates of genetic drift, whether or not we have natural selection on it, that's a fact that supports evolution. Nothing ever proves, no one fact by itself ever proves anything.
That's
We
not
just
how
have
science
a
works.
body of evidence that supports. So we stack the body of evidence on this side. And now what fact do you have that does not align with evolution, that is not also accounted for by science, but that only concords with your God hypothesis?
That also explains what we've been able to explain and has predictive power across multiple fields
I'm not
of
even
study.
I'm not even asking for a theory. I'm not asking for predictive power. What fact do you have? Because every Christian tells me they have evidence.
Yeah.
The guy that was standing next to her, the one with the hat, when I was here a couple of years ago, I went to the Ark encounter, that guy showed up and said, well, we have evidence of our God. No, the fuck you don't. So I told him, turn on the cameras. I'm going to get this guy on video. I said, I've asked every Christian tells me they have evidence. Nobody's ever had evidence. Cameras are rolling. What's your evidence for God? Well, you can't explain how life came.
But
Even if we couldn't, which we can, but even if we couldn't, that's the argument from ignorance or from incredulity.
Yes.
Right?
personal incredulity, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know, therefore.
So that's a
God.
fallacy.
Or
That's
I
not
cannot
evidence.
conceive of this, therefore God.
So let's say, I mean, we know that we have a lot of explanations for things now that we didn't have, say, 200 years ago, right? So we go back to 200 years ago, when before we had the germ theory of disease, which is only a theory, by the way, it's never been proven.
Go fuck
right?
yourself.
Does that mean that before we had the germ theory of disease, does that mean that diseases were really a curse of witchcraft? Of course not.
No.
Not knowing the right answer doesn't mean you have the right answer.
Right.
It's not, I don't know, therefore magic.
Fair enough. Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you phrase that in the form of a question, I was going to I know this one. Yeah, no. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I hate to be that asshole,
Well, yeah, you're paid to be that asshole. So
but
go for it.
Aaron, thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate it.
You know what I'm going to do now?
What's up?
As soon as I get off the stage, I'm going outside. I'm going to find that little guy with the hat who's out there trying to hand out scriptures.
Bring him in. Bring him
He's
in.
standing out there in the
Bring him
rain,
in.
freezing.
Bring him in. Bring him in.
I'm
Can we
telling
have him
you,
up
it's
on
a
the
much
stage?
better time in here. It will change your life, and you'll be happier for it.
Bring him. Go get him. Let's hear it for Aaron Ra. All right. I think
So
it's
we're-
that part of the live show where we give away merch. How's that?
I
You
think
like
it is as
that?
well. I was going to say we may have one more theist caller than I thought. So let's do this.
We did have somebody who wanted to join us for Q&A, though. Can we bring back Eli Bosnick?
Woo! Because we anticipated some questions about what he was going to say. So let's see. So are we starting with Kayla then?
Absolutely. Kayla,
Kayla.
where are you?
Yeah.
Kayla, would you like
Yeah.
to read it? Yeah, come on up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Do you have a copy or you want this one?
After
I-
Kayla is Will B. Will B. If you can let our call screener know who you are, that way we can bring you the mic.
You will be the next question.
Go ahead, Kayla.
So I just wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on vaccines because I'm kind of on the fence. Should they be mandatory, or what do you guys think about vaccines and anti-vaxxers?
So anti-vax, you want to know what we think about anti-vaxxers.
Well, and she
Eli,
said- well,
what do
so-
we think about anti-vaxxers?
Hold on, because her question was, and vaccines, should they be mandatory?
Should they be mandatory?
Yeah.
So short answer, yes.
Yeah.
Long answer, yes.
I was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it's mandatory not to repeatedly hit your kid with a stick or to hit your neighbor's kid with a stick. So yes, vaccinate your fucking kids.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, actually, and it's something that we have to deal with as an atheist community because, as we all know, not all atheists are skeptics, right? And so I think where that question comes from, and Katie, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that I think we all have that person in our life who's not a straight, Wakefield, MMR, causes, autism, vaccine denier, but maybe they think the flu shot's not important, or maybe they think that they weaken your immune system, right? They've picked up some meme from some obscure Facebook page, and they repeat it because they don't know better. And I think absolutely, not only do I believe in vaccines, not only do I believe they should be mandatory, but I believe that the more education we provide about vaccines, the more people will understand that when you say something like vaccines should be mandatory, that's not scary, right? That's the elimination of the deadly diseases that killed our grandparents and our grandparents' grandparents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if the systems were in place, they should be free. But, well, that's
cheers.
a separate issue.
Okay, our next person is Will B. I get to pick the question. I was picking the question, so of course I'm going to choose Will. Will B.
Will actually had to go to the focus group at 2, so I'm asking the question for him.
All right, just directly into the mic. as you
Sorry,
can.
Will is at the focus group at 2, so that's why I'm asking the
Boo,
question.
boo,
for
Will, boo.
All right,
Boo,
and our next
shame.
question will be.
Shame.
He said, how would you play an atheist Dungeons & Dragons character investigating the various truth claims of the D&D universe, and how would you survive the process?
Okay,
So
I needed this.
okay. all
I
right,
needed
all right.
this. So the question is, how would you play an atheist character in D&D? Am I the only one? Do you play D&D?
Oh, I love D&D. So
All right.
My answer right away, just he constantly thinks he's insane. Right? He's just like someone shoots a fireball and he's like, I'm having delusions. Guys, can we get me to a medic or something? I'm unwell. Oh, there's a dragon at the bottom of this cave? Okay, Dave, let's get you the medical help we need. I love you, buddy. Come on.
I actually got to play in a universe of characters that were atheists, in a world with gods. And so when they found out about their gods, they killed them. Because they're like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck you. No. Nope. So they killed them. And they're like, yeah, there are no gods. And all of the other gods are like, nah. like you do your thing. We're just going to peace out, which is fun. But the reason that I chose this question is because I think it's so interesting that it's the exact inverse, right? We live in a world without gods. But what if we did? And then it didn't accept it. How do we determine that? Well, that's kind of the reason that, I asked that question to Aaron. And that is that we need to know how to investigate claims. We need to know, and we need to be open to understanding. I got into an argument with a guy at the bar yesterday who said, I don't need to be open. I don't need to be doxastically open. And no, you do. And you need to be prepared to take evidence as it comes to understand the world to the best of your ability. And so what's funny is the atheist in the D&D universe takes on the deist and theist position in ours. I think that's pretty neat. No? Anyone? I thought it was cool. Jamie, it looks like you're chewing on
So I'm glad
something.
you got the question that you needed.
Yep. Fine.
So I'm
Fine.
not. I don't regularly play D&D, but I do remember a roommate of mine in college saying that he was playing Skyrim or something, and there were gods walking around shooting lightning bolts, and he's like, yeah, there's also atheist characters in the game that are like denying their existence, and he's like, yeah, that's hilarious. That doesn't make any sense. And alluded to.
Ha! Yes! Thank you, people at the back. All right. No! Boo.
And alluded to that. Thank you. You're my favorite. It's not. It's
okay.
I'm just saying words to hurt you. I don't mean them. It's fine. And alluded to the fact that was ridiculous and was basically an atheist, and it was before I'd really deconverted, and he didn't have the language for it. And I guess Nick, if you're out there, give me a call. My phone number hasn't changed, so.
Hashtag grind on Jamie.
Yeah.
All right.
He's.
Okay. I know that you're okay.
All right, so-
move on. It's okay.
There's not a name on this question. Did you hand me this just to see what my reaction was? Is this because I said words that hurt you? Is that why we're doing this?
It makes me happy.
So the question is, and unlike the other times I've been forced to have this conversation with Eric, the question, I can't have a drink while he goes on and on. What are your thoughts on the free will presented by Christians? So, yeah. Here we go again. Eli, do you wanna?
And we've got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay.
So I think the context of this conversation is really important because there's sort of a meta-philosophical conversation happening in our community, which is fun, right? It's great to go to your buddy at whatever meetup and be like, think of a city. Where did that come from, right? But we need to understand that Christians are using the term free will to justify or to try to solve the problem of evil. And so a lot of the arguments you see sort of end up being traps because you'll get so caught in the philosophy and, more importantly, the very interesting and somewhat valid counter-philosophy about free will that you'll forget that you're helping people out of a bad way of thinking. So While I think I probably agree with 99% of the room on the Christian idea of free will and how it's a trap and how it doesn't exist and all that kind of stuff, I think it's important to remember that when we're debunking these ideas or when we're arguing against these ideas, what question was asked that free will was the answer to? How can we get to that core question first?
Way to moral high road us, Eli. Nice.
Not a sentence usually said.
Yeah, right. No. Well, I still want to jump on top and say well, fuck it. You just did. Yeah, it's fine. All right, next.
I didn't ruin it this time. You can't blame me.
No,
you did
no,
it.
that's
All
fine.
right.
No, yeah, keep people first. You're right.
Eli ate my homework. It's fine.
When it comes to free will, the only thing that I really wanted to flesh out was that whether you have free will or not, the system and the society that we have benefits from having, the justice system and benefits from us helping each other and creating societies and creating communities, regardless of whether or not we had the free will to do it in the first place. And so I think the piece that pisses me off the most about that Christian argument of free will is the idea that, oh, well, if God didn't give free will, you don't have a purpose, you don't have a reason. And the fact is, you do have a purpose. You get to make it for yourself, and you get to work on it every day. And it is far more fulfilling and far more rewarding than any one that can be given to you by a deity. And I think that's fantastic. All right, Jamie, what do we got next?
So our next question, did you want this one or this one?
Either.
So Charlie from Cleveland, hey, what's up? We met earlier. Based on experience at the rally yesterday, how can I educate and protect myself and my loved ones against intimidation and indoctrination without becoming the monster I set out to hunt? So there's this idea that's common in society. Oh, I guess no, I'm just gonna take it. I'll whatever. No, you don't get to answer first. Ha. So there's this idea that's been common in society, and that it's the default of like, atheists talking is offensive, right? Because there's this idea of like, oh, the crazy preacher on the corner. But if an atheist did that, it would be unbelievably unacceptable. And one of the things that needs to change, because if you can be out, please do, is the fact that our position is normal. It is normal to be a non-believer. It's normal to be a non-believer, and so I'm rambling my answer, but that's because this is important to me. Because the last part of this question is the part that strikes me the most, without becoming the monster that I set out to hunt. Unless you are forcibly indoctrinating someone else's children, or saying a series of statements that mean you're going to be tortured forever, and that's good to someone, you will not be the monster that you hunt. And to the first part of the question, how can I educate and protect myself and loved ones against this? You're off to a great start. I mean, we talked, and YouTube is free. Like and subscribe. Shameless plug in the middle of this question. But yeah, becoming educated, learning about epistemology and learning scientific skepticism is incredibly important. It's been said before, and I'll repeat it. The fact that the atheist movement hasn't embraced skepticism and the skeptical movement, and the fact that the skeptical movement hasn't embraced the atheist movement is the biggest detriment to both movements that I can see. Is a very large one. I haven't looked at all of them.
Well,
I'm open to being persuaded of something different. And what I will say is, when you learn that, you will learn that someone's testimony about a thing that they saw is, hey, look, I've got testimonial evidence. I don't think that's persuaded anyone here, because it's really easy to hear a Christian's testimonial evidence, because they'll tell you on the street as soon as they know you're an atheist. But yeah, just continue educating yourself, like and subscribe, and you'll be fine, or at least as fine as I can help you be.
I'll help you here, buddy.
My answer was fine.
The education,
right.
the education aspect.
Yeah.
Education. Does it make you a monster to question the things around you? Fuck no. Is it going to help your children in every fucking way possible? Fuck yes. That's what's going to do it. You know what? It doesn't make you a monster to ask questions. Jamie had it absolutely right. But But you're not always going to be there for your family. You're not always going to be there for your kids. They're going to outlive you if we're lucky. And that's how you're going to protect them in the future, because you're going to teach them that skepticism is the right way to be. And skepticism is the right way to go because it's going to protect you against pseudoscience. It's going to protect you against the woo and all of the fucking bullshit religions that come in and try and justify their own bigotry. Yeah, cheers to that. All right. So the next question.
So the next question I have is from Anna. I'm sorry I can't read your last name, or I don't want to mispronounce it. Why am
I'll try it.
Oh.
Stoffel Hopkins. Anna, where you at? Anna, let's get you some merch.
Yeah. Also.
And get you the microphone, because that's how we do this, Jamie.
All right. Well, I was gonna. My next question was, did Eric get it right, or was he a fool right now?
Oh.
And I think you should.
You're super wrong.
What?
You were super wrong. In the
I said it wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Damn it!
Ha.
Okay, what is it?
Stouffer Hopkins?
Stouffer Hopkins.
Stouffer, like the food brand.
Yeah. Obviously, Eric.
Okay,
got it.
fine. All right, Anna, what was your question?
Okay, I want to know why I'm afraid of coming out as an atheist, even if I'm not in like any immediate danger. I'm not afraid of losing my job. I'm not afraid of my family shunning me, but I still am. I have this like deep-seated fear of coming out as it.
I was going to say, can I just ask, are you a recent deconvert, and were you very zealous and/or devout?
No, I came from a pretty non-religious family, and I'd probably argue that I've been on the road to non-religion for maybe 10, 15 years. So it's not a super recent development. Even here, I'm still like afraid of calling myself an atheist.
So Anna, I'd just like to, it's because we live in a society that shames it.
Yeah.
It's because we have people in our lives who we've met, we know, people who we care about, who identify so strongly with their religion that if you say that you're not that, it's terrifying. It's terrifying, and I can tell you from personal experience, reaching out to a family member and saying, please tell me you still love me. It's scary. Can anybody in this room relate? Can we stand up? Stand up if you've had to do it. Stand up if you were afraid at some point that you were going to be rejected. Anna, you're not alone. But you know what? Look at this community. We're doing it together. Thank you, everyone. Yes. No wonder it hurts. No wonder it's sad.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to think that
Don't
there's
despair.
something wrong with you, because it's part of that process. And that's okay. That's okay. Take your time. There's nobody who's going to be upset with you because you didn't do it right. And if you decide that staying, not letting people know that you're an atheist, because that's what's going to be beneficial to your life, no one here is going to be mad at you. You have a place that you belong. And it's right here with us. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, but you said all the things. No, it's that's why we do what we do, and that's why I think I've already said it since being on stage. So brace yourselves for a repeated statement. The Atheist Community of Austin has community at the center of its name, community at the center of what it does, and that's what's the only way to change that. Right? My response was going to be shorter, and it was going to be, well, were you raised in the United States? Because yes, that's what makes this terrifying. That's why I'm not out to all of my family yet. That's going to, basically conversations and things that I'm doing like this, and the fact that I know this is going to be the rest of my life and that it's been the last few years. What the fuck am I doing, right? Because I know that my parents and my immediate family are fine, but I'm sorry that I haven't already come out so that I can make it easier for you. But I'm glad that you're here. Good for you.
Cheers. Eli, anything to add before we go to the next one? Anything you wanted to add in?
Yeah, I mean, so I think one of the things that we probably don't talk about enough is, okay, how do I actually have that conversation, right? I mean, it's wonderful to hear supportive words like that, and it's wonderful to be in rooms like this, and it's an entirely different thing for someone to be like, so which church do y'all go to? And you have to be like, so here are the flaws with the cosmological argument, right? Right, because we as a community don't have that discussion. And the answer is that for those of us who are part of smaller communities and have had to come out for other things, that it's okay to let other people process slowly, that it's okay to create an awkward moment. You know, one of the best things, pieces of advice I ever heard, which was when you're having a conversation like that, have goals. What do you want to get out of it? So when you're coming out to people at work as an atheist, or when you're coming out to people in your life as an atheist, have goals. You're talking to mom and dad about it. Do you want them to talk about their spiritual beliefs, or do you just want them to stop bringing the kids to church every time you leave them there for babysitting? That's a very important distinction to make, and working goals forward is going to make that an easier conversation, right? If someone at work says, what church do you go to? They're probably making small talk. There's a very good chance they do not want to talk about William Lane Craig with you, right? But if it's Thanksgiving and Uncle Tim, who watches Fox News all day, every day, turns to you and is like, so, you're telling me the flagellum are a self-forming complicated... He wants to have a philosophical debate. And the reason why I think we feel so much pressure is we don't know what conversation we're having. So the first piece of advice I would give you, just practically, is have the conversation that question merits, and forgive yourself for where your comfort lies, right? So depending on the situation you're coming out of, have that conversation instead. I hope that's a useful answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just tacking on to that, even when that uncle of yours just wants to argue with you about the flagellum, that's still somebody who you care about, and that might be somebody who's afraid that you don't care about them anymore. And that is the time for us to reach out and reaffirm that we're still family, we're still friends, we're still neighbors, we're still coworkers, we still see you every day at the market, and we are good people, and we can be good without God. And it's so important to reaffirm that, because we can spend so much time in our own heads thinking, oh shit, everybody's gonna want to, nothing to do with me. It goes the other way too. There are Christian family members who are going to take that and go, oh, they don't ever want a relationship with me. And so we need to take that on as well and reaffirm those things. And if it's toxic, fuck them. You got a better family right here.
Yeah.
All right. I just saw this.
I think piggybacking on that.
Yeah, that was a good question. And Eli's response actually kind of, this is from Jordan Raber. Jordan?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So I know we're getting close to that time, so we don't have too much more. But, God, this is fun.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this.
I don't remember exactly how the question was worded, but it was something about prayer,
Can you,
right?
A little closer.
it's directional. I don't know what you do in your spare time, but, well.
You're good. It's okay. Just a little louder into the mic.
Okay. I don't remember exactly how the question was worded, but it was something about prayer.
Yeah. What should I do at family events?
Yeah. Yeah,
When
family
they-
events like tomorrow, Easter. I'm going with my family. We're going to have Easter Sunday, and we're going to pray, or my family's going
Sorry
to
to hear
pray.
that.
And, yeah, and I mean, I'm not out to all of them. They don't all know, and...
Yeah. But what do you do at that awkward time when everybody's holding hands and they're looking at you like,
Well, I obviously, I fake it.
You do?
Yeah.
That's totally okay. I know I took this really weird tack, and it totally worked. What I did was they got together to pray, and it was the year that they found out that I was an atheist. And so to cut the tension, they were all getting together, and I was like, please, I really don't want to make you uncomfortable. Please have your faith traditions and do whatever you're going to do. I want you to know I'm okay with you praying. And they bought it. They were super excited. They're like, oh, good, we don't need to. It was fucking great. Try it. Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many like accepting family members will go, oh, but I don't want to bring up religion because I know that will offend you. Like, look, they're family members that know I do this show. So no.
No. This
It's
even
fine.
worked with
Respectful,
people
it's
who
fine.
wanted to argue with me. It was weird. It was
Boom.
good. I know. They were like, no, fuck this guy.
How
We're
can
going
you
to talk and we're
deny-
going to make Thanksgiving really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, please do your Christian, whatever, I don't care. And they're like, oh, fine.
How can you possibly deny his testimony? So it's evidence that this works.
And we're going backwards.
Always.
Just again to echo that point, have any of you heard of the show What Would You Do? It's a reality show, and it's also a punishment for the hell our society has become, where we take a camera and we bring it into public places and we do terrible things with actors, and then we make regular people break the social contract. And they had an atheist episode, if you'll remember. And the atheist episode was, there's one family praying, and then the atheist family goes, "We find your prayer offensive." And then they asked people what they would do, and for the most part, they were just like, "That's weird." But the answer is, again, it depends on the kind of prayer, and it depends on what's being said in that prayer. For the most part, if you see your family like slowly easing into prayer, like they're trying to figure out if you're going to do outfit stuff, they are afraid of making you uncomfortable. And in that situation, doing that, saying it's totally fine, go ahead and pray, is a way for you to relieve the tension for them. If they're using prayer as a tactic of social ostracization or forced participation, right? If we can all join hands and bow our heads, then just simply not doing it is absolutely your prerogative as well. But you know your family better than we do. And you also know what your levels of comforts are. I enjoy over-praying because my family are all Jews. So they'll be like, Baruch, and I'll be like, Baruch atah Adonai, yeah! Eloheinu. And then they don't ask again. But again, you're going to know what your family is and what your comfort levels are.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Jamie. So what do we got next?
So there is a fan of ours who actually was a caller who called, and it's one of the calls of, listen, I don't believe now, but because of that, I don't have community. It's in the vein of like, oh, I'm cut off from my family, I'm cut off from my community, I feel alone, and I felt that way for years. Help. Which are the hardest, because if I fuck something up when I'm arguing with EF, everyone in this audience is still going to know that he's an ass. But if I fuck something up or lose my place or can't think of what to say, almost like right now, when I'm trying to help someone who is in this situation, the cost is higher, and so I always bend over backwards, and am even more insistent when I interrupt Eric to help in these calls. Eric loves that, by the way. Including when I speak for him. So there is a fan of the show that desperately wanted to be here but couldn't, and desperately wanted to make sure that we had a good time. And we had lunch yesterday on their dime. I'm generous, but that I'm not loaded, and that was some very, very good food. And so one of the things that I'm going to do, I don't know whether Mark is going to try and cut this for time because it's being recorded, is just, and if you will help me, record a little "Wish You Were Here" message from the stage. So hold on.
Well, so what are we going to say, Jamie?
Just say, hi, Ariel, wish you were here.
Mariel?
Ariel.
Ariel.
Ariel. Yeah, no, she
All
called.
right.
She's the...
No, we haven't. Okay.
All right.
Are we ready?
Yeah. I mean, I can go over the lines again, but they're not, are we good?
Count it down.
Hi, Ariel. Wish
Stage
you were
fright
here.
and we're all good? All right. What?
Count it down.
Yeah, oh, okay,
Cheers.
yeah. There
Yes.
we go. There it is. Yes, and it's symbolic because we should stand up for our rights and equality and community. Oh, wait, making up little symbolism things is what theists
Eli,
do. I'll
I
leave that
deal
to
with
them.
this every
But,
single weekend. It's amazing.
That's true. And most days,
he
he
just
cannot
goes
escape.
and goes
He
and
literally
goes.
can't. I'm his
It's like
boss.
the Energizer Bunny. Okay.
All right. So, as we're ready, Hi, Ariel.
Wish you were here.
We love you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that you could vicariously be on stage with us. Thanks.
All right, just 22 more of these videos to go. Our next up is Brian from Akron. We're doing him next.
Yeah, you know what? Hashtag Grind on Jamie is great, but it's taking a lot from the audience. We'll go get there, though. We'll get there.
Wait, what? What just happened? Wait.
Huh?
Don't worry about it.
You didn't use this to get? Oh, wait.
No, what?
Oh, all right. I'm not your judge. That's fine.
I only know half of what's going on, but I'm pretty sure you're wrong. I mean,
That's fine.
that's just the
Okay.
normal state of being, I suppose.
So I know we usually do. Is it that time?
It's love ring time, and those will be added in post.
No,
It'll be beautiful.
yeah. Live studio audience. That there are love rings. You just don't see them, right?
For those of you
Yeah.
that haven't seen our show, you have no idea what we're talking about. It's okay. It's not that important.
Eli, have you seen our show?
Absolutely.
Do you know what our sign off is?
Yes,
You do?
the love rings.
All right. So we start.
instead of
we
having
start
me mess it
by
up,
saying,
he knows the outro. Let's
He
just
does.
let him do it so that I don't mess it up.
Well, no,
the way
I'll
that
do
I
the first part, and then he can do the last one, right? So to everyone that does not believe,
We salute you.
American Atheist Convention, we are so proud to get to see you, to meet you, to have fun with you this weekend. We can't wait to see you after the show, and we can't wait to keep forging on with this, because if you don't believe, this is your community.
Yes.
You are welcome here. There is a place for you, and we are building it, and we are making it better. And I'm so fucking proud to be a part of it. And to those of you who do believe,
Fuck you.
We don't hate you. We just think you're
see you
wrong.
in Austin.
I nailed it, right? I nailed it. Standing ovation.